Welcome to Hospitality on the Rise, the podcast about the people shaping the hospitality industry and their journeys. I'm your host, Alice Cheng, founder and CEO of Culinary Agents, hospitality's go-to hiring platform. And I'm here to give you your dose of virtual mentorship. Here, we'll be sharing the stories, lessons learned, and advice from hospitality leaders who've carved out their own path to success. After all, this industry is where many get their start and go on to do incredible things. Whether you're a pro, starting out, or just love the hustle, this podcast highlights what makes hospitality extraordinary: the people. We're so excited to have Camari Mick with us today. She's the Executive Pastry Chef at the Musket Room, Rafts, and Cafe Zaffri here in New York, and also a partner at Rafts, amongst many other things. She's also like a big ray of sunshine. Which, in the gloomy days of it gets dark at 5 p.m. here in New York, is very, very welcome. I'm going to rattle off some of the recent awards because, the show's not long enough here for other things. In 2023, Forbes 30 Under 30 Food and Drink. 2024, Rob reports 10 rising power players in American fine dining, along with some of her partners here. 2024 Food and Wine Best New Chef, and 2022 to 2025 JBFA semifinalist Outstanding Pastry Chef. So this is going to be a big year in June. Anyway, that being said, you don't get these accolades and get to where you are overnight. So we're here to hear about Camari's journey and some of the things she learned along the way. So Camari, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So tell us how it all began.
So it started with me being a chubby kid, and I always wanted something sweet after dinner. And my parents were great like cooks, but they're terrible bakers. So I kind of like begged my mom to start baking with me, and as we started baking, we started like obviously bonding, and I got really good at it to the point of like I started selling stuff in school, like cakes and cookies and cobblers too. Um, and post that, it comes to the conversation of from my parents of what do I want to do with my life? And I told them that I wanted to be a forensic pathologist.
Oh, as you do.
Right, as one does. And my dad was like, listen, you're clearly good at baking. You clearly love it. And it can be more than a hobby for you. Like you can make a career out of this. And I never thought that that was an option. So having, two people stand behind me on 10 toes, saying that I could be a chef was like really inspiring for me.
I
And
love that. We don't hear that often enough, right?
yeah, especially like with immigrant parents, because my dad's from Jamaica and my mom, she's from Brooklyn. But like typically they were like, oh, you would be a lawyer, be a doctor, I'm pretty sure
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, it's not stereotypical for no, for a good reason, but
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure your parents are proud of you. Like, look at all that you've done, please. But yeah, like it became such a like it's definitely part of my narrative, and I would not be who I am today without my parents. So I'm glad that I went that route and not carving up dead bodies to find out how they died.
yeah, I mean, we're very happy, the consumers are also very happy you chose this path. I've been many a lucky recipient of your delicious creation. So I thank you on behalf of the listeners. So, so you made the decision. You're like, all right, got the blessing in a way from the parents,
Literally.
literally. And you're off and running.
Off and running. I went to college at the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College in Philadelphia. I got my associates, and then I was like, ooh, I want to do another year, and then I got my bachelor's. And then post that, I was off into the real world. Started in Nantucket at Ventuno, which was a Italian restaurant, and I was there for 2 seasons. Then I bounced around to New York after that, and that's kind of where I like we're starting to lay my roots. I worked for Daniel Boulud, Thomas Keller. I worked for Eric Repair and all of
Couple of names.
just a couple of
Just a
names.
couple of folks that people might have heard of.
Right. And then post-pandemic, I was working at Tack Room under Thomas Keller, which unfortunately closed during the pandemic. And I was kind of in this like limbo area where I was like, I mean, as everybody was in 2020, where it's just like I was like this close to not returning to the industry and kind of like doing something else just because I was just like I don't know what food is gonna do, you know, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was living with my parents. I moved back in from New York, and I was just like in space. And then at Mason Yaki with Greg Braxton, he had a pop up throughout the summer that highlighted Black chefs, which was really, really cool. And I did that and I got some momentum off of it. Got a lot of new followers, got a lot of new like fans. And then post that, I was like, okay, I need to like keep up with this momentum even if I don't have a job. So I started making donuts and selling donuts through my Instagram. And I was like biking all over the city, delivering these donuts. And come to find out, Nicole Vitagliano, the sister of the owner, Jennifer Vitagliano of the Musket Room, bought some. They bought 6 to be exact. And
Wow. I'm still visualizing you on a bike delivering donuts, by the
right.
way. But
Just like
I love it. I love it.
bought my donuts, and I get a DM later and like, would you be willing to come in for an interview? I'm like, sure, why not? You know, we're here. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything.
I love it. You just slip into the DMs and there you
Yeah,
go. Here you are.
right. So I go in for the interview and they're like, so we had your donuts. We love them. We would like to hire you. And that was
And I
it. Like,
love Jennifer Nicole. Like I could see this all going down to like
yeah,
business. Like
yeah.
no gray. And like this is like, let's not, let's put the fluff to the side and get down to it.
Let's get
I love
down to it.
it.
So essentially, they had a food truck coming, and so they were also on a timeline as well. So they had a food truck coming, and out of the food truck, the idea was to sell baked goods to the neighborhood to get some sort of other revenue without being inside the restaurant. And so because of that, I was like the perfect candidate, just because I was like doing donuts, I was like doing cinnamon rolls and just kind of like other delicious things. And I already kind of was like gendering that following. So I was hired, and
I love it. I love
wow,
it. These are the stories that we want to hone in on about COVID. It was businesses, restaurateurs figuring out how to adjust and survive and, get business or take, a positive spin to the situation. And then talent basically making it happen, getting back into it, and then that naturally attracting, a great partnership.
yeah.
So I love it. I didn't know that story. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
and that's where Rafts was kind of born from. Like we had a really good success with the food truck, and when it was because it was a loaner, we didn't buy it. When it was time to give it back, we were just kind of like, okay, buy baked goods. The restaurant had opened back up, and now we're doing tasting menus and plated desserts again. And there was definitely that like miss for me, and I was still doing like we had brunch on the weekends at Musket Room too. So I would still do like, oh, let me do like a little pastry basket and see if that sells. So we were kind of like just throwing things at the wall to see if it would stick. And then the Preezy, so RAS, where it is now, was formerly the Preezy space. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so when Parisi closed in 2022, we kind of like went to go see the spot, give it out feels, and then like as we were doing research, we found out that back in the 1930s, it was a woman-owned bakery called Angie's Bakery, which the two twin ovens in the back fed the neighborhood. Like you would make your bread at
Wow.
home and then bring it to the Angie's Bakery, and they would bake it all for you.
Wow. Look at that. And you guys transformed that into a beautiful, like, I don't want to use the the word feminine. It's just a beautiful, like,
I
sexy
think it is
space. Yeah.
very feminine. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, it's
Okay,
ran by
good. You said it.
women, so it better be a little
Yeah. No,
feminine.
I mean, it's, you walk in and you just like feel luxurious. Like, okay, I'm here to,
Yeah,
to
I
dine.
I definitely agree.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So now now you guys have this new project,
Hmm.
and this was just a couple years ago.
Cafe Zaffri?
No, Rafts. That
Oh,
was
Ras.
that was just a couple years ago,
Yeah,
right?
Ras was literally
Yeah.
we're about to celebrate our 2-year anniversary on March 14th.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And that didn't keep you busy enough because you put another project on top of that.
Yeah, yeah. So we opened a hotel. So essentially, Cafe Zaffri is Mary's baby, where it's celebrating her Lebanese heritage and throughout the Levant region as well. So we are sitting in the 22 hotel, and Cafe Zaffri is the public restaurant because a part of the 22 is also a members club as well. So on the second floor is going to be another restaurant that services only the members.
Great. How is that for you? Because you're playing with different flavors there as well, from your other
Yeah.
restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a new approach to me, and I like really took this on as more like a research project more than like, okay, let me just throw some like orange blossom and call it the Middle East, Like that's rude, that's disrespectful. We're not gonna do that type of appropriation. So I like reached out to a bunch of chefs. I ate at different restaurants. I got all of the books. I was in the library. I was in Bonnie Schnottlich's. I don't know if you've ever been where it's
I
like
haven't been, but I
she has like old out of print cookbooks and like any and everything you can think of, she has it. Like I know she for a fact she has like $1,000 first edition, barely used Julia Child's cookbook there. And that is just like gorgeous. Um, but anyways, yes, Cafe Zaffri. I was doing a ton of research. I was talking to a ton of chefs, and it was just like a big undertaking just to test and retest, and find that healthy balance of kind of like modernizing without appropriating. So it was definitely a challenge that I took on, and I just wanted to be like respectful to the whole cuisine and culture.
well, from an amateur taste tester to a chef, it you did a great job. It's delicious. That
Thank you.
cheesecake is something very special.
Thank you. Thank you.
I too was a chubby kid. No. um, and that kind of brings me to one of my questions is like, how do you stay inspired? Right? Clearly, you have this self motivational drive, which is important. But you have like Rafts, which is more Italian. And then you've got Cafe Zaffri that, like you said, you had to do some research and get there. Like, what keeps you inspired as you continue to grow?
As I continue to grow, what keeps me inspired is kind of like knowing that there's a generation behind me that is too fighting to like kind of get to where I am. Um, and I like want to be able to continue to pave the way for the like black and brown chefs that want to follow in my steps. So as I am continually like coming up with things from all of these different for all these different avenues. Musket Room is globally inspired. Rafts is Italian and French, and then Cafe Zaffri is for the Levant region. I'm constantly trying to draw inspiration from the people and the cuisine, and then like the history too. So at Rafts, what I'm really excited about is we just kind of like launched this whole new direction for the bakery where we're taking the Moorish and North African influences on Sicily and kind of like turning that into pastries. So we now have a harissa chocolate cake, an
Oh,
agrodolce sticky bun, a caponata Danish, like some just new age, new fun modern things that are blending and kind of like molding together. Because the Moors occupied Sicily for over a century, so there's definitely bound to be some things that were left behind, Uh,
absolutely.
yeah,
That's
so
so incredible. It's like all that history and that can be told through food as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
is so interesting. And that's how, I mean, that's how you continue to inspire also the diner, right? People want to try different things. And it's like, there's
Yeah.
so many restaurants in New York City. And how do you stand out from the other, right? Not just from the diner, but as a place to work, right? And
Yes.
I know that, you've shared some of your insights about leadership, which is one of the things that, we want to extract on this pod as well is, the way you motivate your team, right? It's one thing to find the right folks. And it's the other thing to motivate them and to help them learn. And you have multiple kitchens to do that. So what are some of the ways that you kind of keep the team focused and motivated?
I like to come up with new initiatives to continually keep everybody focused. So at Rafts is clearly my baby. I say I don't have favorites, but Rafts is like up there.
I won't tell.
Don't tell them. So last year, which was a huge success, we had the Croissant Club. And so I essentially asked chefs around the city, what would be your dream croissant? Like, how could Raf's team, make you your dream croissant? And we had some really, really good ones. So we worked with Sema, Chef VJ from Sema, and then we did Sophia Rowe. Who else? I feel like last year was so long ago.
No.
I know. And then, but so as we're actually starting to plan the new second annual croissant club.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have some really great people. Clearly, I love unapologetic food. So we have the Damaka team coming in, the Nax team, Farial Abdul from Haven Mar. We are also working along. Yeah, isn't she great? Um, Hawa Hosan, Marine, she is a Pakistani chef, and it's just like it's so many different um, types of chefs from different aspects that we pulled in, and it's just kind of exciting to one, we get to learn a little bit more about their culture, their cuisine, who they are as people, because we see these people on Instagram and we would like look up to them and we never have an opportunity to collab or come together and create something, whether it's because like our cuisines are too different, maybe we're all too busy, and everybody's bandwidth is shrinking more and more each day. So this is like a fun way for us to reach out to chefs that we admire and we want to work with and say, hey, we'll create this for you and you don't have to do a thing. The work is on us. We literally invite them in for croissants, as you can see in my earrings.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, croissant earrings. I love
Yeah.
it.
We invite them in, we share a few croissants, we talk about the ideas, especially like my sous chef, Lisa. We talk about the ideas and then we like go to the drawing board and create a few things. Then we have the chef come back in or we go to them, they taste, they approve, and then we go live. So it's gonna be throughout the summer, post Memorial Day, all the way up until August. And it's 10 croissants, 10 chefs, and it's going to be exciting. And if you get all 10 croissants, because there's a punch card, you get a special surprise at the end.
Oh, you get a giant croissant.
Oh, you get a giant croissant.
I love it. I love it. That's one of the things that I don't want to say we just started seeing more of it. But I would say in the past, maybe 5 to 7 years, this like collaboration slash like coming together of the industry in a different way, whether it's within the same city or even folks visiting and just, working together. And that really speaks volumes to both, what you and the team have built here, but then also, your ability to kind of bring other people together. And it's great. I'm very excited for it. I think all
Me
of our carb
too.
lovers are going to love that too.
Yeah.
So, you worked at several really incredible kitchens and businesses. You know, mentorship is something that I think in this industry is crucially important, especially for those who may not live in a big city or haven't had the chance to kind of get their foot in the door somewhere. It's one of the reasons why we have this is to apply some virtual mentorship so people can get some snippets of advice. So for someone who's kind of starting out and, may or may not have gone to school and may still be in that kind of like, I don't know if this is the thing for me long term, but I love it. What advice would you give to them?
Okay, if you are trying to decide if you want to go into this industry, I highly suggest that you set up a stage. Find a chef that you kind of like their work. Go through their Instagram, look through their menu, see if you like what they are currently doing. And if you do, reach out to them. I am a firm believer of sliding in the DMs. Like I am like, hey, like for
Clearly.
all of these croissant clubs people, I slide in their DMs. I'm like, hey, would you like to do a croissant with me?
I feel like that's how we initially met, but
I think so.
I was like, hey, we want to feature you. You're awesome.
So I'm a firm believer. I mean, that is the modern day of like walking into a restaurant and handing your resume, like sliding in the DMs is like the equivalent of that. So I'm from a firm believer of like, hey, can I come in for a trail? Can I set up a trail? Nobody's going to really turn down free labor. So yeah, go in, find watch, be respectful, learn a few things. You walk away from that trail with the meal, with some newfound knowledge and maybe a job offer, you never know. For two, just continue to do your research. It's finding your avenue. If you want to, do you want to do pastry? Do you want to do savory? If you want to do pastry, do you want to do breads, cakes? Do you want to specialize in plated desserts? Do you want to work in a restaurant? Do you want to work in a bakery?
There's a lot of options.
There's a lot of options. And it's not linear. You don't have to stick to one thing either. I find that there's a lot of people who, tend to go to the cake route or the bread route, and then that's kind of all they do. But as a restaurant pastry chef, I find that you have to be a little bit more well-rounded. Pastry chefs are a dying breed almost sometimes, sadly. It's always the first department to get cut in a restaurant. We always have the least amount of labor because or at least amount of hands, I should say, because our labor is so high. And because our food cost is so low, it kind of doesn't balance out the way savory balances out, where you have these high ingredients and kind of same amount of labor, but you can charge more for it. Nobody's buying a $72 pastry, even though I consider that it's worth $72,
Yeah. No, you're right. We actually saw that in the data at Culinary Agents where there were years actually leading up to COVID, and obviously we didn't know that was going to happen, where we saw a decline in businesses hiring pastry-specific positions, whether they found other ways to, satisfy the sweet side, or they were doing pre-plated, or they were outsourcing, whatever it may be. But then we saw it come back. All of a sudden, we saw a big uptick, and some of that is because of consumer behavior. People were buying desserts more. They wanted more, elaborate desserts or concepts, we're focusing more on that side. And that was a really positive uptick. So we're also seeing that trend continue now. So, for those of you who love pastry.
Now, so.
Well, there you go. Yeah, on Culinary Agents.
So I love that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And I think you said something really important there, which is you don't have to just pick one route. There's a lot of different things, right?
There's a lot of different routes. And your career is not just going to be 5 years. Your career is going to be, if you're in it to win it, your career is going to be the rest of your life. And at least it's going to be the rest of my life. So, I mean, you don't have to stick to one thing. I worked in restaurants my whole career. Maybe there was 2 bakeries sprinkled in there, but I was not really that morning time person. And look at me now, I opened a bakery, so there's that balance that you can find later in life. I'm saying later in life, but later in your career. It's just I'm 30.
Yeah. I know. I was wait, didn't you just get 30 under 30?
Later in life, back in my day.
But no, I love it. You're absolutely right. We're big evangelists of the skills that you're learning, whatever you're doing at that time will take you into your next thing. And the common thread that all leaders hone in on is, have the passion, the hunger to learn, do a good job, listen, and be a team player, do your thing, and people will notice and want to support and help, and you will better understand what might be a better fit for you as well. So it's like the clarity comes when all the noise goes away. So I love that. I love that. Is there something that like an opportunity that that you came across your plate over the years that you're like, I kind of wonder what that would have been like if I did that, like a big move or something?
Yeah. So for for a few weeks I worked in Paris, and
Ooh.
yeah, it was just kind of like it was only like 3 weeks that I was kind of just like staging over there at Chateau Le Rouge in the 8th arrondissement, and I had a job offer, but like I didn't have the funds to like just up and move to Paris. Like I barely had enough funds to do the 3 weeks. So it was I always wonder, like, what if I just stayed over there? Would my French be better? Definitely.
Would you love croissants even more?
Would I love
Maybe.
croissants even more? Probably.
I love it.
Yeah, so I definitely wonder if I did that. And then also pre-pandemic, there was definitely like a split in the universe. So there's another Kamari out there that's probably living in San Diego. And then also in this other realm, COVID didn't happen. So
I love it.
because if COVID didn't happen, like I was about to sign the contract, and then this was like March 2020, about to sign the contract. My lease is up in May. Like in May, I was gonna move to San Diego and kind of open up this kind of like a Rafts, essentially, like a bakery with a full service dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner too. So,
Wow.
but in San Diego, it was going to be interesting. I know for sure.
Well, I am a firm believer of the world works in mysterious ways, and
Me too.
things usually work out the way they were supposed to.
I agree. I agree.
So, selfishly, I'm happy it worked out in my personal favor, right? Because I'm closer to your pastries now.
Yes.
Um, I love it. And, who knows what the future may hold. That's another amazing thing about this industry. It's like these skills that you learn, really open up a lot of different opportunities. And I'm happy. I love your partners. I'm happy to see you all continue to grow. I think it's not easy to kind of connect and find your little group, if you will, and be so creatively compatible and supportive of each other and grow. This is a hard industry. It's a hard business. And also, by the way, can we give a moment to how quickly Cafe Zaffri came about?
To you guys. To us, we were planning and testing. Like
That's true. That's true. Isn't it? It's like from the outside looking in, I'm like, ooh, one day you said we're going to do this. And then a couple months later, bam. Right?
I know. All of a sudden, my friends got like the friends and family invite, and they're like, "What is Cafe Zaffri?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, we're opening up another restaurant. I'm sorry, I'm busy."
Like, this is why I haven't responded to you. Yeah.
Keep up, guys.
I love it. I love it. What's next? Got projects up your sleeve?
What's next? Yeah. So I'm kind of like in my like travel bag these days. I'm also working on a book. Um, so I'm doing like pop-ups, and I'm like taking in research and like taking all of this in and all of my experiences, and really my next steps are to get this down on paper and testing a few recipes for the general public to be able to execute.
Amazing. Well, if you need any taste testers, you know where to find me.
I absolutely do.
No, that's great. And, obviously it goes without saying a lot of hard work and grind has brought you to this point. Right? And oftentimes people are like, okay, I want to open a spot. I want to write a book, or, a cookbook or a book or whatever. How have you found, are you intentionally laying out these kind of milestones and goals for yourself, or are things kind of brought to you and, falling in your lap, as it may seem?
These have always been goals of mine. I kind of like, it's not like I like write them down, or anything. I don't do like a vision board. I just kind of like, oh, I would want to do this one day. And then when I'm in conversations, when I'm in these rooms and I like see the path forward, that's when I like attack, like
Yeah.
that's like, okay, I can do this. So
That's awesome. And that's really incredible. You know that about yourself. I think that's important that I'll latch onto is, when you put it out there, at least for me and for a lot of folks that I tend to be attracted to, like you put it out there and you never know who's listening and nobody's going to know how they could potentially help you or what connection they can make for you, or what your ambitions are unless you put it out there. Right. I mean,
Right.
you read the room, right? If people don't care,
Right.
keep it to yourself. But, when you reach a point and you're doing these projects and you're collaborating and, I feel that genuinely, people want to help, especially in this industry,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to help if you don't put it out there. Right?
Exactly.
So, and that can be at any level, right? Whether you're starting out and you realize that you love it and you want to do more, or it might not be the direction that you want to go, but you're interested in something else. It's, many people, especially leaders in this industry, and upcoming leaders, actually welcome those conversations versus the louder, right?
Yeah.
This industry is not for the faint of heart.
Unfortunately, it's not, but I'm trying to make like my kitchens are always a safe space for anybody to speak their mind. Like this is a collaborative. This is also just food. It is food at the end of the day. Like I remember my sous chef was getting really on herself about when we went live with this sticky bun, and I was telling them, I'm like, it's fine. Well, 86 for the day. It's good. You know what? You know what we're gonna tell guests? Oh, you have to come a little bit earlier. It's
You're sold out.
sold. Oh, yeah, we had a line in the beginning. Like it's food.
I mean, that storyline works.
It
'Cause,
really
like,
does.
the next day, the line is out the door, like, 30 minutes before you open the doors. I love it.
Exactly.
Well, Camari, I have got a couple of quick fire questions for you,
Let's do it.
and then I'll let you go on your day into R&D and baking deliciousness. What advice would you tell your younger self?
Speak up more and say it with your whole chest.
Oh, I like it. What's your advice for someone struggling in the industry?
Take a step back, whether it's a long weekend or maybe it's just having a conversation with an elder in the culinary space, and then attack.
For those of you not watching video, the elder was in air quotes. What's your advice for fellow hospitality leaders?
Continue to share the stage and share the spotlight. You're going to an event, bring one of your top cooks, top sous chefs with you, and let them experience that too.
I love it. Camari, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, busy day. Just recently opened another restaurant. You've got all these awesome projects underway. I selfishly am very happy to see you and get my personal FaceTime. And I know that your advice and your words of wisdom will be very valued amongst our audience. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
I know. All right, we'll do it again. Have a great one.
All right.
Remember, success looks different for everyone in hospitality. No two paths are the same. If you have a leader or a topic you want to hear about, email media@culinaryagents.com. Hospitality on the Rise is brought to you by Culinary Agents, connecting top talent with employers since 2012. Whether you're hiring or looking for your next opportunity, join us at culinaryagents.com. For more inspiration, subscribe to Hospitality on the Rise and visit hospitalitycareerpaths.com, a free platform by culinary agents. Until next time, keep rising!